Hello, welcome to another deck video where we're going to be talking about a really good beefy brawly deck that I've really been enjoying using. I've also, with this deck, I have not lost, okay, I lost one game, it wasn't my fault, but other than that, literally only one loss, and that is the Ground Brawl deck. So, this deck right here, you might have seen the video where I talk about the lessons that we learned from the devs, from the tournament that I held. And yeah, this is the deck that I'm talking about. It's also, me using this super effectively is going to be linked in the description below. So feel free to click and watch that battle if you haven't already. But yeah, this has been refined for a very long time, and I've been really working hard on perfecting it to make it the most effective deck to give to you guys so you can absolutely dominate as Russia. Obviously, update might come out soon and maybe a lot of things will be fixed and maybe this will be no longer relevant, but otherwise, let's go into it and talk about it straight away. So, we got the Diversante, right? These are literally just our eyes and ears. They are purely for that laser designator. That's all I actually want them for. For scouting and, like, obviously sneaking behind enemy lines, these guys are pretty perfect. They are pretty feeble, though. They will win against sniper squads, by the way, so if they come close range against another sniper squad, they will beat it. You definitely don't want them in ambushes, although that is actually a pretty good option as the RPG-30 goes through APS. So if you're looking at fighting away hordes of Booker spam, this is actually a pretty damn good option, but otherwise, yeah, no, I'd just stick to this. Other things can do the job better. I'll talk about the vehicles later because they sort of work more appropriately towards this tab, so ignore the K17 and the BTR that I've got there. Corsair, for clearing out back lines. Got two of them, you can actually make them look pretty snazzy. Little experimental orange drone if you wish. There we go. Spetsnaz GRU, one of the best, if not the best, infantry squads in the game. 130 points is quite a lot, but you get a lot of capability. Now, note in this deck, in this configuration, we're actually using them as the dual purpose. So the original Verba and double RPG. In other decks, I use it as double Verba, and in other decks, I use it as the very expensive. I rarely use this, I'll be honest, it's just too expensive for what it is. Yeah, this one works fine, especially for this deck. And I'm going to explain why. It's going to tie in with the vehicles, but I think you might guess what's coming. BRM 3K, what the best vehicle, the best scout vehicle for its price, pretty good. Does a good job at just, you know, holding the sort of flanks and firing that big boy 57, and the attack and missiles are pretty good too. Obviously, if it encounters helicopters, they are toast. Decent armor, nothing to brag about. This is the vehicle that is the eyes and ears of the platoon, of the battle group, of the battalion, whatever you want to call it. 2,400 range with a longer laser. So if these guys are the sneaky ones that go into the back flanks and see from that perspective, this is the vehicle that's going to be sort of mainly with the rest of the battle group, just helping me keep a scout out. Now, I can't afford to upgrade it. I have balanced this. I have thought about it very carefully, and whilst this would be nice, I just can't afford it. Now, I know you're thinking you could cut some other bits and bobs, but no, I can't. I literally need absolutely all of these units exactly as they are. So I can't afford to up armor it. So if there's a Hellfire coming, which hopefully there won't be, because this is designed to be a bit further back in your lines than these guys, then you just smoke out. The smoke comes whether you put armor on it or whether you don't. Also, it can swim, which is a good perk for this vehicle because, yeah, it's pretty nifty. Right, Kozliks. I should do this so you can see the beautiful... You know what, I'll do this just so you can see the Kozlik in all its glory. What an amazing machine. This is one of the best, cheapest units in the game. Now, you might have seen this being used increasingly often in the backlines, and that is what people are doing. It's absolutely fantastic. It's sensational. It's unbelievably good. It's unbelievably effective, especially in the backlines. And for 45 points, if you just throw one of these out, always keep it. I used to, you know, worry about which configuration to put it in, but this machine gun, this huge, big old Soviet machine gun, it fires, what, 14.5, so it's like the old Dushka machine gun. I don't know if you can see the size of the bullets, but they're like basically the size of the man. They're bigger than a 50 cal, and it just rips stuff apart. Sorry, you might have seen the devs use these Kozliks against us. I mean, putting them in the heli spawn is a little bit sweaty, but if you manage to, you know, for 45 points, risk one of these vehicles and stick them in the side, then, yeah, it's so worth it. I mean, the game's there, right? Abuse it, abuse it. People abuse other spam tactics, you can abuse this. It's absolutely fine. But please also don't use spam tactics. It's, ruins the game for everyone. Right, okay, so the infantry and the light APC tab. So again, we'll talk about this one first. The boomerang essentially is actually really fantastic. The problem is it's a little bit expensive for what it is. So essentially it's got APS. So what you can do is you've got a few options. Use it as a long-range ATGM vehicle. So again, we've got the Cornet here, but it's only the unupgraded one. And yeah, it's okay, it's fine, but this is obviously a much more mobile, more powerful version as well, and it's got smoke and APS. This does not have smoke, so if a tank spots you and it's close enough, dead. If a tank spots you and you're close enough, smoke, run away. So that is the sort of purpose of that vehicle. It is just an ATGM carrier that can also carry infantry, of course it can. Now, what you can also do is put this into the back lines, because whenever backlines shenanigans happen, just like with the Kozliks or the BTRs, the enemy is almost guaranteed to bring out helicopters. Now, the BTRs work really well together, so if you put this guy first, because Hellfires get APS'd, so yeah, put this guy first, you know, smoke, use the APS, charge the helicopter down, get in range of the 30 mil, and absolutely shred him. It's a very good tactic. What you can also do is obviously put infantry in the back of it, so yeah, it works really good for that function as well. But otherwise, I would really not recommend this vehicle for much else. I certainly wouldn't recommend it for a more medium frontline kind of vehicle, support vehicle, like the BTR. That's what the BTR is for, so let's look at that. The BTR is absolutely goated. This BTR 82, it's fast, unlike some other BTRs, like the naval one, BTR just 80, I think. And the weaponry is really good. Although the weaponry on the BTR 80 is also very good, but obviously that's a different deck. Now, the purpose of this is to provide frontline, or sort of just behind the frontline fire support. This cannon is fantastic. The machine gun helps, but the launcher is also very capable. It's good enough to do the job that it needs to do. When you have a few of these vehicles, so we've got 3 in this deck, and this is, well, it's kind of the 4th. Yeah, you can do a lot of damage. You can do rushes with this guy as well, and put the Verbers in the back and the other infantry in the back. And again, very, very satisfactory in performance indeed. You can actually, with this setup, you can be a very mobile, very aggressive squad. And this is, by the way, it's called Ground Brawl for a reason. It's called because I want to brawl. I want to get up in the enemy's face. I want to do some damage, and then I want to run away. And that is the whole purpose here. Now, before I talk about the B-15s, which are unbelievably good, we got to talk about some of the other units. We've obviously got grenade launchers, and that's for trying to delete the hordes of infantry. Now, unfortunately, though, for some reason, the AGS-40 isn't as good as the VDV AGS, so let me just quickly find that for you. Where's the tanks VDV? Yeah, for some reason I just find that this setup, it works much better. It's something to do with the magazine size and other bits and bobs, but that's the VDV one's got 30 rounds, and for this one, sorry, not this one, this one, it's got something like, not that many, it's got 20. Yeah, 20. So obviously you lose a third of your magazine. Even though obviously the damage should be 25% more, you lose 30% of the magazine. So quick maths, technically overall less damage. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I've been trying to use these. They are still pretty essential. Oh yeah, they're a lot weaker as well. 6 armor and 4 men. Whereas that one was 8 armor and 5 men. But either way, they're the same price, but I'm not the biggest fan of these. So I use these, but they're not that good. Now, here is some absolutely goated infantry. The Sturmoviki. Right, look at these guys. Mismatched uniform kind of kills my OCD, I'll be honest. But what you get for 55 points, by the way, which is a dirt cheap, it's insanely cheap, is 8 armor, 8 men, so 40 HP, and a very capable, yeah, super good infantry squad. By the way, these bazookas, they are, to be honest, pathetic is a really good way to put it. They are pathetic against vehicles. However, if it's a light-skinned vehicle, it can obviously do some damage. Only 4, but yeah, whatever. Its bread and butter for this squad is to take out other infantry squads, and you know what? It does it really well. The machine guns are good, the RPGs are good. Airborne Next Generation are what, 80, 85 points? I can't remember. These are 55 points and they will win. Not by much, but they will win. So there we go. It's something to bear in mind. This is very good. For the price, I think this is the best squad in the game. For the price. Yeah. So yeah, very good. They work especially good when they're in these vehicles. So obviously this is more of a longer range, take vehicles and infantry out kind of thing. This is more medium range, take out infantry. So if you come across a squad like the Javelin, then you can smoke this out, get these guys to deal with the Javelins, which by the way, they'll have no trouble whatsoever with a weapon squad or something like that. They'll have, or troopers, whatever. They will not have any issues whatsoever. They'll absolutely rip them apart. And then this vehicle's back in safety. Another threat comes up, you get these vehicles back in. But anyway, we will talk about the vehicles in a second. The Verbers. Verber is the best not ATGM, the best manpad in the game. It is designed for taking out helicopters, and it does so very well. This is the reason that I've got 4 of these, is also the reason that I don't need the GIU in the double Verber configuration, which, by the way, is sensational. I do highly recommend double Verbers, but the gap is filled here. What's also good is they've got 6 missiles, and it's, like I say, it's the best manpad in the game. So yeah, there we go. Fantastic team. The SSO. So the SSO. Everybody knows that they are the best long-range infantry squad in the game. This corner is just the gift that keeps on giving. It keeps banging troops so well. And that's why it's amazing. This squad can, however, be used in the close quarters, and it will actually work really well. What's also nice is even when you're long range, you still keep, when in the standoff edition, most squads go back to 8 HP. This keeps its 10 armor, which is pretty good. Not HP, sorry, armor. So you can actually, a really good option in this specific deck is to put the SSO in CQB version, and again use them as jump out boys for the B-15. I do find that works really well, but I can't let go of this long rangeness. It is a fantastic option, don't get me wrong, but I think everybody knows that this is an even better option. The problem is as well, if you try to jump, this squad will lose to Delta, it will lose to Pararescue, and it will lose to Marine Raiders. So unfortunately, you can't really justify having them as, well, I mean, it's still pretty cheap. 85 points is pretty good, though, and the Burr launchers will do damage to some vehicles too, but I think I just want this Cornet missile because, yeah, it's obviously absolutely goated, so why wouldn't you use it? PTO Metis. Now, we've got the Cornets, and they're obviously long range and more damage. However, the problem is when you've got Bookers and stuff, you just need more missiles on target. APS is still pretty effective, and essentially this is what this is for, dealing with APS. It's a pretty pathetic squad. It's a bit overpriced in my opinion, but 2 launches is better than 1. So yeah, this is why I keep those guys around, just to try and keep all the sort of Bookers spam at bay. Chadleys as well, works pretty decent because it can punch through their armor and do some complementary damage to all the damage that these vehicles do. So it does work well together. Gwardia Motostrelki, a perfect little jump out squad against tanks and armored vehicles. They work so well with the B-15 that it's not even funny. They're very good against, so whilst you've got the Sturmoviki covering your anti-infantry needs, same with the SSO, I do wonder, the problem is we've got lots of long-range anti-infantry stuff. By the way, the vehicles are anti-infantry as well, but we've not got much CQB in the deck, so the GRU is a potential, very limited, but potentially a CQB candidate, but we don't have a designated squad for it. So again, potentially this would be a much better option, but I just love the extra cornet. The cornet, by the way, does really good damage to vehicles that it can penetrate. And even if it can't penetrate them, it still does good damage, so it assists with all these launches, so I will be keeping it in this configuration. Now, yeah, the Guardia is the close-range RPG. It's only got one extra launcher than the GRU. Otherwise, it is pretty mediocre. The problem with the GRU is that once they're out of ammo, they do become a bit sort of exposed. They're a bit naked without that. If, say, the transport gets killed, they're a little bit naked on their own. Very good CQB, as I've said, but once those RPGs are gone, they're just a bit sort of, yeah, asking for trouble. Now, the Guardia does that, but it's just cheaper. It's the same effect, it's the same result, but it's just more meat into the fight. It's more cannon fodder. I wish it was 8 health, 8 armor, because that would make the squad a lot more attractive to me, especially for that price. But what you get is 4 RPG 28s. When you use them with the B15, which is what we're going to talk about now, it's fantastic. Now, I've got 8 B15s in the deck, which is a lot. That is a lot. That is possibly even too much. But look at this vehicle. Firstly, beautiful little paint scheme. I think this is meant to be the urban camo or whatever, but it is pretty damn pretty. I love it. This vehicle, let's talk about its great things. You could have it cheaper, by the way, only for 30 points, and give it a 30 mil. But also you lose the bullet missiles, and the bullet missiles are actually what make this vehicle so damn good. Now firstly, these missiles are designed against infantry, but they can target vehicles as well, and they do a good amount of damage. They are slow missiles, but they fire on the move, which is really, really good. So the cornets, they never fire on the move, whereas the bullets do. So that's another perk. It's worth it just for this if you don't really particularly care about having a 57 over 30. By the way, whenever you're using these vehicles, you absolutely must use them in a wolf pack. They are a bit weak on their own. Their armor's very weak on their own, and they will easily get overrun. Infantry will kill this vehicle. Airborne will kill this vehicle. So you got to be careful and step away. When you know the fight's lost, you definitely got to step away. But you got to use these vehicles in a pack, which is why I've got, 8 of them, you know? You can surround tanks, the 57 will clap through the side armor, you will do so much damage if you use this correctly. And again, the pack mentality is what really makes it. Now obviously we do have the other contender for a similar vehicle to this is the Barbarous, but it's just too expensive, and when you get 2 of these for the same price, they're so much better. Now, when you're using this deck, and this unit in particular, you do have to have infantry on board. There's no point just using this as a vehicle on its own. You do have to have either these guys, these guys, these guys, these guys, these guys, or these guys, and any combination. By the way, what's great about the Verba and this AGS is that they both fit into one of these vehicles, so it's a really strong combination when you have them together. But yeah, you do have to use everything here in a... This is a perfect little ground combined arms kind of thing. This APC is the perfect APC, apart from when it's own, exposed and unsupported. So yeah, mark my words, keep these guys in a group and they will do absolute wonders for you. The Wolf Pack will rip apart any big wildebeest like the Sep V3. Again, the Cornets are actually really good missiles, but it's rare that they hit. So when they do hit, it's great, but it is a rare opportunity. Plus, with how paper thin this vehicle is, yeah, as soon as tanks get shells onto this, it is going to start panicking and missing and stuff like that, which makes it even less effective. But the pros are, you've got, what are these called? APS, I forgot about that. Which is good, because Hellfires will one-shot this, but when you have APS, it makes it a bit more survivable. The smoke is good, but essentially when you're out of APS and out of smoke, this vehicle is dead in the water. That is your cue to get the infantry back on board, smoke, run. You do have to run. And again, with a wall pack mentality, you should have other guys to help you out, cover you. There's been a few times where I've literally, you know, say this is damaged or about to get clapped. You run one of the other vehicles towards the guy that's in trouble, smoke, and then retreat together. It works beautifully. It is the perfect definition of good little fire and maneuver, combined arms kind of little It's very satisfying. When you use this properly, it is super satisfying. But I think we've talked about this enough. We can look at the other options if you'd like. The reason I don't use these guys, by the way, is just because, well, there's less damage output and the magazine is 29. So it's a tough one. You could use both of these, but I'll try to use the bigger shells for a bit longer. Otherwise, they are essentially the exact same thing. Moto Pехota is a terrible squad. Don't use it. It's not even worth it. Like, this sniper and the machine gun, like, at least the Guardia, they have two machine guns, which provides a bit of more suppression and a bit more damage, but otherwise, this squad is just not good. And the RPG is fine on its own, but it takes too damn long for it to fire. You need a lot of these squads to be effective. It is 65 points, it is cheap, but it's really not great. It's terrible against infantry, terrible against vehicles. What is its point? It's just meat into the fodder. At least this can take out some vehicles. Yeah, here's the Igla. Now, Iglas or Verbers, that is a tough choice, right? Think about it this way. Both squads, they get 6 missiles. The Verber, however, has more range and is better at tracking. It's a bit of a hidden statistic, but the Verber just seems to hit more reliably. And yeah, the other thing is the fact that the slower fire rate. So obviously you've got both 6 missiles, but this one will fire faster because there's 2 launchers. And the thing is, you kind of want the slower fire rate because essentially the more flares that leave, the better. By the way, you never want just one Verber squad; you want all of them. But yeah, flares obviously take a while to diminish, so the slower fire rate kind of does sometimes work in your favor. Not always, but again, to me, it does more damage, it hits better, it's got slightly more range, and it tracks better, so that's why I use that. And the rest of the squads we've already talked about. Vehicles. Now, in this squad, APS is clearly king in this deck. We have to have APS on our armor as well. It's no good using this version, even though I'd love to use this because of the 250 cal machine guns. Or the ECM works pretty good too for the price, but you have to have APS these days, and unfortunately that's just the way the game is designed. APS, with the amount of javelins and stuff like that, is pretty essential. Now this is a very good tank. The T80 also has a faster fire rate than the T90, for example, which, so there we go, 7 to 8 seconds, whereas this is 6 to 7 seconds. So that is really important. When you're facing hordes of bookers, this is a very, very attractive vehicle. A more attractive vehicle is actually the Marine tank, the 155 point tank, just because you can spam them out a bit more. But yeah, you're going to get shot by Hellfires quite a lot. Hellfires do 15 damage, by the way, so even if the 2 APSs and the smokes run out, you can still survive one shot, which is pretty good. Yeah, very good vehicles. Again, can't really use these on their own. They also suffer playing against basically any American tank. Any American tank, like a V2 or V3 especially, you really can't do much against its armor. You're going to struggle a lot. Whereas the shells into the front of this armor are going to slice it open and do some decent damage. So yeah, no bueno. Bit of a feeble gun. It's good that it's got the ATGM sort of thing so that you've got longer range, but otherwise, yeah. This is not fighting other tanks, this is for fighting light armored vehicles, APCs, and yeah, essentially trying to do as much damage to them as possible. This shell is pretty good, it's 9 damage, it's not going to stop most ACVs, it will still take 2 shots, but again, if you've got 2 tanks, then voila. The Terminator, I've only got one of these. I think they're very situational these days. They work amazing in some limited situations, but otherwise they're a bit vulnerable. They don't have APS. The 18 HP doesn't make much difference. You could do this. There's barely any difference in the armor, in the side armor. The 1 HP makes it slightly more survivable, but ultimately there really isn't too much difference. I've put it on, but you could easily keep it off. The best bit about this vehicle is obviously the twin 30mm cannons and the grenade launcher. But again, if you just want... the attack is also pretty good. They're not amazing, but again, it's just another missile to throw at the enemy. Essentially, I used to absolutely adore the Terminator, especially for its cheaper price. Back in the day, it used to cost 190. Now it's just a bit of a vulnerable vehicle that I don't use as much as I'd love to. Let me talk to you about the Armata. Essentially, I used to have just 2 Terminators and 6 tanks in here, but I've recently found that the Armata is pretty essential. The problem is with those vehicles, yeah, when you face a tank, essentially the reason I put this in is I played a game where I was facing SEP V2s and 3s, which are obviously super difficult to kill. These tanks really weren't doing it. The ATGMs just were not hitting hard enough, even with all the ones that I have on the vehicles, etc. The problem is a tank can fire and then retreat into the tree line or smoke before the missile will hit. So you do need to kill tanks with tanks sometimes. And essentially that's where the Armata comes in. I am reluctant to use this, obviously, but the reason I'm not using a T90 is because it's the same speed. The T80 is fast, it's 80 kilometers an hour, as is the Armata. Unrealistic, you might say, but hey, it's a game. A lot of things in this game are really unrealistic. But anyway, 4 APS, 2 smokes. You will never ever, or you should never ever, deploy this anywhere near the front line. Absolutely not. You keep this bad boy a bit back, a bit in reserve, just to help you with anything that these guys can't handle with. And that is how you play it. Do not risk your Armata. It is going to be airstruck. You need to keep moving it. Or again, MLRS, RT, whatever, will always priority target an Armata. So it's a very situational vehicle, just like the Terminator, whereas these tanks, you can just get them out whenever you fancy it or willy-nilly. Right, what else? There's T90s that you can have as an option, but again, their fire rate, their guns, especially this one, the gun is better, but you've lost your APS. If you do put APS on it, in my opinion, just a bit too expensive for my liking, so not really worth it. It's a potential contender, but also with the slower fire rate, it's not ideal. You could potentially use this instead of an Armata. It is still a pretty heavily targeted vehicle, but yeah, I mean, when you do this, it's not worth it because again, only side armor and only a bit of 1 extra HP. This is still a competitive vehicle, but it's just not good enough. It doesn't fulfill quite the needs that I needed to, whereas, I don't know, I think the Armata kind of does. You know what, now that I think about it, I think potentially this is actually a better option, like so. By the way, hopefully you're not going to be firing at infantry, so you really don't need that upgrade, but feel free to do it if you want. Cool, that's how I'm going to do it instead. Yeah, that is actually a better option. 2 guns, I mean, it's 80 points difference. It is, yeah. Go for this. Go for this setup instead. There we go. Cool, moving on. The support tab. Now, there's a lot of really good things to talk about here. If you don't know already, with this game being out for so long, I hope you do, but if you're new to the game, this is one of the best helicopter killers in the game. It is very, very good. 1,900 meter range with no radar and just sheer firepower is fantastic. Also helping us take out helicopters is the Assat. Now this vehicle is an absolute goat. You have to have it stabilized, otherwise it can't fire on the move, and it just tracks worse, I find. So you do have to have it upgraded. But it can one-shot a lot of helicopters, and it is just such a good vehicle. I really, really do enjoy using it. Your other option for air defense is either the Buck or the S300. Now, I thought long and hard about this, and I mean, both are quite disappointing. Both are, unfortunately, not ideal. The thing is, this is probably the best Russian AA. It can one-shot planes, but it just can't track them. Whereas the Buck is terminal guidance, so it can actually track and can potentially shoot down things. But I find these missiles are a bit pathetic. They are supposed to be quick, I mean, they're the same speed as that, but they just don't seem to hit or track that well, or I don't know, they're just not very good. And the thing is as well, the advantage of the Buck, like, so both these missiles are mediocre. Apart from this does tend to one-shot, but this is also cheaper and you get 6 of them, so you can fire them out a bit faster. What is good about this is, though, that they do fire really quickly. They do As soon as the tracking goes, the next one's out. It isn't a cold launch, it's a hot launch, so it will point and shoot. Whereas with this one, there's a second delay on targeting because of obviously the Russian tube artillery going up and then towards the target, whereas this is directly at the target. So it is actually a pretty good missile. This is also the Vuclan 2. Don't knock it. It's for 150 points. It's pretty good. It can one-shot vehicles. If you want to play a bit more risky and keep this closest to the front line, this is also a pretty damn good option. Again, for 150 points, rude not to use it. 200, still pretty capable. Yeah, the overkill mechanic is really what lets this down. So if you have 3 of these, you're still not going to shoot down even 50% of the planes that come at you. But yeah, I mean, just Russian air defense is pathetic overall. What is there to talk about? Yeah, the most annoying part about this is, though, even if you get a direct hit, it's not going to one-shot a plane, because planes are 20 health or higher, so yeah, don't count on that aspect of it. It is, yeah, it's most likely going to disappoint you, but I think this disappoints you harder. So yeah, it's what I'm trying, I'm trying to make it work. So far, not much success, but there we go. Supply vehicles. Now we've got this truck. This is just for big supply dump from a cheap 30-point vehicle. Basically, it's useful for this, and this. And this vehicle is so much better because it can carry 3 8-man squads and supply as well. So what you can actually do is load this up full of infantry, drop the supply where you need it, like with the buck or something like that, and then continue the infantry into the fight. A bit slow, but not too bad for 85 speed, and 65 points is a little bit expensive, so you actually don't want to risk this vehicle getting destroyed. Yeah, don't risk this vehicle getting blown up. Otherwise, it is pretty damn good. Let's talk about the RT. Now, the coalition. The whole point of the coalition is targeted, deliberate attacks, laser-guided targets. That's literally what I use it for. But if you do spawn it, then obviously shell everything you can and keep moving it and keep these spread out. I find 2 is almost sufficient. Almost. 3 is better, but also when you're laser guiding things, you need 4 hits onto, like, say you're laser guiding a tank, right? You need 4 RT shells. So either way, you're going to have to wait and reload before you fire. So 2 kind of just feels like a nicer way to do it. It's more efficient. Fire your 4 shells, get the hits, move. The tornado is the other RT piece, and tornadoes are pretty, I think, with the meta and how the meta's looking and how spammy the game is becoming, tornadoes are probably more essential. We've got the laser guided setup, and by the way, this is why I've got 4 Diversante with the lasers and this guy with the laser too. Just because I want to try and maximize my lasing potential for the tornado. Everybody should have laser designators. It's a great team tool, and it's pretty good. By the way, a reason you want the Asa, not the Tor, is, well, the speed does actually make a big difference. The Tor is good, but in terms of getting shot or one-shotted, the Tor will survive 1 javelin hit, whereas the Asa won't. That is something to bear in mind. The Tor also has more shots, but again, cold launch, so it fires slower than the Asa. And yeah, in terms of damage, it can't one-shot vehicles, which is quite important. Helicopters, that is. Which, yeah, I think that's where the SR really wins for me. So there we go. That's why I go for the SR instead. Let's talk about helicopters. Now, this is quite interesting because this heli is actually really cool. You want to use them in pairs, but you want to put these big boy missiles on it. 20 missiles, you quickly go in, fire, and then quickly retreat. You've only got 10% ECM, and it is beefy, but it's a bit fragile at the same time. I really like this heli. It can actually destroy tanks if you obviously shoot into the side of the tank with these missiles and the cannon. But essentially, it is just for quick strikes. It will do a good amount of damage, and if you got 2 of them, so 330 points odd, it will be quite good. It will be quite good. I do really like using it in the double missile configuration. I saw the devs do it when we played them in the competition, and that's where I've copied it from. The Mi-24s are sensational. I'm a big fan. The only problem is that cannon, that mega fast firing rapid cannon, can't shoot in any direction, so the helicopter does have to face the target to fire upon it. This is where this has the advantage, because it does have the swivel mount, or whatever you want to call it, so it is slightly better if you're moving. But if this turns around and locks onto the target and fires, oh wow, it is beautiful to see, and the sound it makes is beautiful, and the amount of shells flying, it devastates infantry really, really well. Devastates vehicles as well, by the way, but it is just a really cool tanky helicopter to have. I've got 2 of them because they've got anti-air and anti-tank missiles as well. For 200 points, that's a good multi-purpose kind of helicopter. Again, you are going to be kind of dependent to have them in 2s, because the R60s, you only get 4 of them, and they're good missiles, they are good, but they're just not good enough to justify only having 4. You need the 8 with the 2 helicopters, so there we go. Air tab. Now, the air tab is so painful. The point restriction means that you can't really do exactly what you want to do. And that is painful. That is really painful. We've got this cool little Su-24 with the shark nose. I think that looks cool. Essentially 6 clusters and 3 fires. Good bit of kit. Very, very good bit of kit. You could actually put on it, should you be risky. No, you can't. Okay, never mind. You could do this. Which is a lot of cluster. You will kill tanks, but I quite like having my fire bombs, so incendiary bombs too. So yeah, essentially what this does is take out tanks, hopefully, and do some damage to infantry. Now my dream setup would be 2 of these and 1 of these, but you can't afford it. It's really... oh, sorry, you can afford it, but yeah, the complication is... right, okay, no, sorry, let me backtrack. You can do 2 of these, but in a cheaper configuration, i.e. with, like so. So 15 points less, but a lot less damage. Those 250 bombs really do make a huge difference. They do lack a bit of oomph. That point difference in damage is really significant, because bear in mind the damage is also spread out. So you do need the more expensive, bigger, heavier bombs. You also need seed. I usually used to run it like this, but I find that the R60s, they're actually pretty good if you want to hit, like, you know, if you see an opportunity target like a little bird or something, then it's pretty good. The cannon does pretty good damage too. Whatever you do, don't run it like this. I've tried this, it is absolutely shocking. Those missiles are horrible, absolutely terrible. They don't track well, and you kind of need laser guidance on them just to work. And if you're going to do a strafe run with this thing, it will get shot down. The seed will not save you. So just keep this in the back line, and if you see any opportunity targets like a helicopter, then it can sort of help you out there. Otherwise, it's a very difficult decision. You also kind of don't have a fighter in this deck. This is the best fighter that you're going to get. And yeah, you do have a bit of a limited air tab. If you, yeah, it's really not great. I mean, I can't say too much. The MiG-29 is mediocre. The 10% ECM is okay, but your fuel is super low. And the R77s, I have actually traded, it was a bit of luck to be honest, but I did actually trade 2 F-22 Raptors for 440 points against one of these. It was just luck. It was pure luck that they were out of flares and that these missiles actually connected. But otherwise, very rare do you actually get to use this to its full potential. So it's saved. Let me show you what my dream scenario would be. See, that's what I'd love to run it as, but you can't. You just can't afford it. It's over the budget. Running it like this, like I said, it just really isn't the answer. You're not gonna kill the tanks, so it's pointless. So what do? Take one out and put a fighter in? Yeah, I suppose that's what you're left with. So yeah, you have to. You kind of have to do this, and it's really frustrating that you have to. I would love 2 of these guys, but even if I took this out and tried to put 2 of these in, I'm still over budget. And the MiG-29, you really can't run it any other way. If you run it any other way, it's not going to hit anything, and it's going to be pathetic. You can try to do this, but you're still over budget. So it's a very, very tough decision as to what to actually do. Feel free to just have 2 of these planes. It might be worth it. Like, literally, just delete this and be like, fine, this is how we're going to do things. Give it a go. It might be worth it. You can actually just have this if you want. I mean, what is the point in one seed missile? I don't know. I don't see the point in fuel tanks. You could... Yeah, you can't do anything else. You could make it a strike craft, maybe. It's potentially an option. Maybe that's something to try out for myself even. But otherwise, it's a bit of a pointless plane with just one missile, which will obviously get intercepted by pretty much anything. Yeah, it's a big shame that this tab can't be better. But yeah, that is how I run things. There we go, let's put it back to how it was. That is how I'm going to have to run things, unfortunately. It is a weakness. The helicopters aren't really a weakness because helis are a bit too easy to shoot down these days with the abundance of killer eggs, Kiowas, slam rams, and sea rams as well. You can't really do too much these days. You could abuse this way more before the sea ram came into the game, but now it's in the game. Yeah, they're really not as good. But what is fantastic is the APCs. The APCs with the jump out boys are great. The tanks are good, very solid. The support is fantastic, apart from obviously, well, Russian bias, my arse. This doesn't shoot stuff down, but none of the Russian AA shoots stuff down anymore, so yeah, a bit of a conundrum. Infantry, very solid. You are lacking a bit of CQB infantry, you have to know that, you have to know your limitations, but that's where the vehicles take over. So if you see a Delta Force, you just pound it with these guys, you know? So yeah, you can't. Yeah, if you had these in CQB and you saw Delta Force, you wouldn't be able to do anything about it anyway. Kozliks, great for flanking, great recon all round. Yeah, just know that your limitations of helicopters and air power isn't the worst thing in the world, because with the packs working so well, yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world that your air just isn't hitting as hard anymore. I hope you enjoyed this deck. Please do let me know your suggestions in the comments below. I will link a battle that I've played with this very effectively. I might have tweaked the deck a bit since that battle, but yeah, it just works so good. Trust me on that one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed my channel. Hope you still enjoyed Broken Arrow, even though it can let you down a little bit. And I hope to see you next time. Cheers. Bye-bye.